This is a video about degrees. And what I want to give is just an introduction to what degrees are, how this is a review. Partially a review, but partially new information. First off, we're going to almost always, when we talk about degrees, put angles in standard position. And so think of this as just an x, y. This is x, positive x-axis, positive y-axis. And we're going to put our angles in standard position. Now, standard position means that we're going to start here on the positive x-axis. That's one side of our angle. And let me get rid of x here for a moment. And this is 0 degrees. Now, if I rotate 90 degrees up to here, this is a 90-degree angle, obviously. I think everybody sees that. And so this is where 90 degrees is. Let's erase that. 90 degrees. Now, the thing about our angles is that's a rotation of 90 degrees in a direction. This is what's new. 90 degrees for us is a rotation in the counterclockwise rotation. So that's a rotation of positive 90 degrees. If we rotate 180 degrees to here, then this is where 180 degrees is. Rotate it again in the counterclockwise position. If we keep rotating down this direction, then this is 270 degrees. I've taken 180 degrees, 180 degrees, and rotated another 90 degrees. That's a positive rotation of 270 degrees. And if I keep rotating, let's go this color, then I come back around, and if I rotate another 90 degrees, I'm at 360 degrees. So this is 360 degrees rotated counterclockwise. Now, the thing about these angle measurements is we don't need to stop here at 360. Say we want to go and rotate further. And so suppose I want to rotate 360 degrees and just keep going. And now I've rotated, if I add 90 degrees to 360, now I'm at 450 degrees. So the idea here is that you don't need to stop here at 360 degrees as far as rotations. You can just keep going on forever. You can keep rotating forever. And these two angles, 90 and 450, are coterminal. Coterminal angles. And what coterminal angles are just angles that end in the same position, standard position, starting at the positive x-axis and then rotating from there. And if we rotate in the positive direction, then we can rotate 90 degrees, and we are here. We can rotate, add another 360 a full rotation, and we're at 450. If I were to add another 360 to 450, whatever that is, let's see, 4, well, you get the idea. I would be at 810, I believe. 810 degrees is also coterminal. Now, let me draw another one, another set of axes. One thing, let's draw an angle and say we've got 30 degrees. This is about, well, let's say that's 40 degrees. I can also rotate in the opposite direction. Say I rotate this way. Now that's negative 40 degrees. And if these two angles are the same, I mean, they're the same size, they're both 40 degrees, but this is a rotation in the clockwise direction. And so we now expand our definition of angles to include positive and negative, and it depends upon which direction we're rotating. So far we've talked about coterminal angles, direction of rotation. Now I want to talk about complements. Complementary angles are two positive angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Complements, two positive angles whose sum is 90. And we'll come back up to this diagram here. If this is 90 degrees up here, the complement of 40 degrees would be 50 degrees. So this complement here is 50 degrees. So 40, as an example, 40 and 50 degrees are complements. Now the thing about complements is they have to be two positive angles. So you would never, so if I have an angle like negative 40, it defies the definition. The thing about complements is they are positive angles. And it comes from the fact, we'll talk just a little bit about right triangles. If I have a right triangle, and this goes to geometry, if this angle is 40 degrees, and this is a right angle, then this is 50. And it wouldn't make sense to talk about the negative 40. So this is the idea of complements. And if I have an angle like, and let's put another angle up here on our diagram. So suppose we have an angle here of, let's say that's about, let's say it's 115. 115 degrees has no complement. And the reason is because I can't add a positive angle to 115 and get 90 degrees. If I had a triangle with a 115 degree angle in it, it'd be obtuse, and there's no other angle I could, it wouldn't have a right angle in it at all. So that's no complement. Complement. Try to get that. Complement. Okay. And one other concept, and that's supplements. Supplements are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. Supplements, two angles, two positive angles whose sum is 180. And the idea here is, let's just think a little bit about it with our axes. If I've got an angle that's, say, we'll do this 110. So if that's 110, its supplement is the angle that gets us to 180, or a straight angle. Supplements straight, and that angle would be this angle. And so that angle would be 180 minus 110, which would be 70. So this is 70 degrees. So as our example, 110 and 70 are supplements, or supplementary angles. Okay. Now finally, you need to be able to locate angles in quadrants. So let's finish with that concept. So if we have our coordinate system, and we know that this is 0 degrees here, and this would be rotating counterclockwise 90 degrees, and this is 180 and 270. And you want to know what, for example, let's say I've got an angle of 203 degrees. Which quadrant is that in? Well, it's between 203 is between 180 and 270. It'd be about here. And the quadrants are, by convention, normally we use Roman numerals. One of the few places we use Roman numerals in math is to name quadrants. I don't care if you call that 1, 2, 3, 4 with Arabic numerals, but this is by convention quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. In quadrant 1, or 203 would be in quadrant 3. So is in, a lot of times I'll use just quadrant Q3. All right, now a couple of things. Let's say I've got an angle of negative 300 degrees. Now we have to think in terms of, well, I'm rotating in the negative direction. So this is also negative 90. This is also, these two are coterminal, remember. Another, if I'm going in the negative direction, this is negative 180. This is negative 270. And so negative 300, and this could also be, it could be 360 if I'm rotating all the way around, positive or negative. So negative 300 is somewhere up here. I've rotated 90, negative 180, negative 270, and negative 300. Negative 300 then is in quadrant 1, and so on. Now again, so just to review, these are coterminal angles. If I wanted to get a coterminal angle with negative 300, another angle that would be coterminal with that would be the positive angle that goes this way. How would I get that? I would just add 360 to the rotation. I've rotated clockwise 300 this way, and then to get back to the same spot, I would add 360 coming back this way. So if I add 360, well, that's going to be a positive, you can see, is positive 60 degrees. So this angle here is plus 60. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. In your exercises, you need to be able to come up with coterminal angles, one positive, one negative. To find those angles, just add or subtract 360 degrees to your original angle, and you can find those. Hope that helps.